All right. Welcome to episode 8-6 of the Backyard Blitz. I'm running a one-man show right now, but soon Gary Free should be with us and Raul Herrera should be with us as well. So in honor of them, I will keep the little engine that could rolling and start off with good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever the fuck you're listening. Welcome to another episode of the Backyard Blitz, episode 86. We're going to recap last week's NFL games, talk a little preview for this week, also a little thanks Haskins and damn K, along with a little cap and facts as well. So as a one-man show tonight, I do apologize if I'm not looking directly at the camera, but I got two screens going on here, so doing some scores and everything else like that. That way we can get the ball a-rolling here. Alrighty. First game of the week, Jets Colts. No, I'm sorry. That is the wrong week. That was 2 weeks ago. We had the Ravens and Dolphins. Dolphins. Wow. Different ball game than we expected. Dolphins 22, Ravens 10. Tua Tagovailoa getting the job done here on Thursday Night Football, a game where we anticipated the Ravens to dominate the Dolphins, and it was really a roles reversed here. The Dolphins dominated the Ravens, basically just did whatever they wanted to the Ravens, and Ravens looked nothing like the Raven teams that we have seen throughout the season, where they have dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Lamar Jackson did not look anything like his normal self. But definitely a stunner there down in Miami. Miami handing the Ravens their third loss of the season. Dolphins go to 3-7. Moving on to Sunday, Falcons Cowboys. Nothing much needs to be said about this game other than how about them Cowboys? 43-3 Cowboys rolled in every aspect of this game. Nothing else needs to be said other than let's go Cowboys, baby. Saints, Titans. This one was a good game, a real nail biter. Came down to about the last minute and a half. Titans squeaked out the victory here, 23-21 over the Saints at home. And Trevor Siemian getting the second straight start there in place of Jameis Winston and getting the job done. Threw for almost 300 yards and 2 tutties. So Siemian getting the job done. Well, didn't get the job done, but definitely had a better performance than he did the previous week. Look for the Saints to stick with Trevor Siemian in the future for that starting gig for the Saints. But Titans won a nail biter, 23-21. Pulled it out in the, like I said, last minute and a half. 23-21. Titans improved to 8-2, while the Saints dropped to 5-4. Jaguars, Colts. This was a little bit closer as well. Colts edged out the victory here, 23-17 over the Jags. Jags dropped to 2-7. Colts go to an even 500 at 5-5. Carson Wentz, no tutties, 180 yards passing, but he's putting the Colts in a position to win. And as much shit and much crap that I've given Carson Wentz and Gary and his high ranking of Carson Wentz throughout the start of the season, throughout the beginning of the season, and everything else like that, I'll give the guy credit. You know, he's coming off of 2 ankle injuries where both his ankles were damaged, where he probably couldn't even walk. But Carson Wentz is putting the Colts in a position to win each and every week. The Colts defense as well is getting the job done for them. They got the late fumble recovery there to kind of seal the victory for the Colts against the Jags. Moving on, Browns at the Patriots. Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones, rookie Mac Jones, and really, this was not even a game to begin with. Mac Jones and the Patriots just took it to Baker and the Cleveland Browns, and looked for the Browns to start having some little controversy throughout the locker room. Gary Free Sr., big show tonight. Appreciate you joining in once again. As always, definitely appreciate it, Mr. Gary Freeze. But the Browns, once they got rid of OBJ, they went out and dominated that next game. Thought everything was all in well in Cleveland with Stefanski, Baker. Their running back core has been depleted with Chubb on COVID and everything else like that. But you would still expect Cleveland and Baker to put up more of a fight here against the Patriots, but that was not the case this week. Definitely a game to where it was very lopsided. Jones, rookie out of Alabama, tossed 3 tutties. And once again, Baker goes down with an injury. I believe it was a knee injury, and but is expected to play again this week. But again, he goes down with an injury and another lopsided loss. Myles Garrett had some telling comments after the game where he kind of threw some shade at the coaching staff and everything else. But I chalk it up to Browns just really not putting anything together and putting a lot of the blame here on Baker. Baker's in his 4th year right now, and he's had this up and down roller coaster of a career to where he's hot and he's cold it week in, week out. You don't know which Baker Mayfield you're going to get, and it really has a determining factor on how the Browns are going to play. You know, if he's looking to sign a big deal here in the next year or two as either an extension with the Browns or as a free agent somewhere, he's going to have to start doing some consistency. And so it's definitely something that we're going to have to watch, that Cleveland's going to have to watch, and we'll see what happens. But definitely something that did not see happening this week with the Browns and Patriots. But give all the credit to Mr. Bill Belichick and Mac Jones and the Patriots, 45-7. Brenda, yeah, I apologize. I'm trying to fix it. Have my phone and computer kind of close to each other, trying to look at score. So let me know if it gets any better. I'll try to scoot the computer away from me a little bit here and try to keep the show going. And where's Gary at? Gary, where you at tonight, bud? Thought we were going here, bud. Don't see you on here yet. Let's go. Moving on. Bills, Jets. Bills pull out the victory, 45-17. Really not much of a contest here as well either. Bills took care of business. Jets are who we thought they were, and so yeah. But just a second, Gary's messaging right now. All right, Gary's on his way, so we'll get him here. Thanks, Brenda. I appreciate that. Appreciate you looking out there. So not much is to be said on the Bills Jets other than the Jets suck this year again. It's about the 18th year in a row ever since Favre left the Jets. So Lions, Steelers. Hold up. Do you think Browns need to address wide receiver to truly evaluate Baker? Jarvis seems to have lost a step. Great question, Brenda. Or I'm sorry, Brett. You know, I don't think they need to address the wide receiver position. I think maybe they need to add, a bigger, taller wide receiver, maybe, in this year's draft or free agency. I think with Jarvis, Njoku, and their other tight end, I can't remember who their tight end is right now off the top of my head, but I think they're all right, and especially if they get Chubb back here in the coming weeks, I think they'll be all right. But I do agree with you. Jarvis has kind of lost a step. Yeah, he's kind of getting up there a little bit in age, especially with some injuries, stuff like that. But just a second, giving Gary the login info here. So I do agree with you that Jarvis has lost a step for sure. But with that being said, I don't see it being a Oh. Sorry, everyone, getting Gary the info here. My apologies. All right, sorry. We'll have Gary here where he can kind of run things and I can get rid of the echo here. So do apologize, everyone. But I really think it's an issue with the with Baker. I think the coaching staff needs to address that issue more than the wide receiver position. It's going to be something to where they're going to have to look at, is Baker a long term quarterback for him, a franchise quarterback, or is he going to be a quarterback that is basically just kind of going to be one of those uh, quarterbacks that is a traveler, one of those guys that just travels. Oh, hey, Gary.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, can you access everything on the side there and do all that?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I got everything. What a shit show, huh? I'm sorry you've been here holding it down by yourself. When
Oh, you're good.
when everything kind of went to shit earlier, I started watching a show with Lacey, and she looked at her phone and saw the alert that we'd gone live. She said, "You guys went live at 9:05. What the hell's going on?" So anyway,
hey, real quick, can you access everything on this side there?
Yeah, I got
Okay,
everything.
Good. Okay, so I'm gonna get off my computer so we don't have an echo anymore.
Sounds good. All right. Oh man. Anyway, let's see. All right. How many games have you covered, or has it just been comments so far?
Oh, now I can't even hear. So apologies again. Just a second.
You're good, buddy. I'll address this a little bit. Brett's question too. I don't think the Browns need to address wide receiver to evaluate Baker. I think the biggest thing they need to understand is, does he fit with what they want to do on offense? They're a run first, run second, run third team, and all right, we'll pick up at just Lions then. So I think what the Browns need to do is figure out what they're going to be able to sign Baker at, and they're going to have to figure out whether that fits within the scheme, or at least what they're trying to do from a salary cap perspective, right? Are they trying to build around a quarterback, or are they trying to build around a running game and have a quarterback that can move the chains a couple of times a games, and make a couple of plays here and there? And I think that's what Baker is. I just don't know. Everybody expects when you have a franchise quarterback, or you have a quarterback, that they're going to go out there and light the world on fire. And it isn't always what you need in the NFL necessarily. I mean, the Eagles won with Nick Foles, and and we've seen teams in the past, the Ravens with Trent Dilfer, and maybe the modern NFL is a little different, but I think what the Browns have going there, they're in a pretty good spot. They just keep making all these changes, and they haven't allowed the defense to really gel. They've made so many changes on defense. They've changed coordinators a few times, and I think with Stefanski, they've got some stability. And in my opinion, what they really need to do, honestly, is take a hard look at what Baker gives them and decide whether or not that fits within that run first mentality that they want. I don't think it does. I think Baker wants money, and you know, if he doesn't chase the dollars, I think he's in a good spot there in Cleveland. But they're going to run into some problems if they pay him 35-40 million a year, because they're not going to be able to keep that top offensive line. They're the best offensive line in football. They've got two of the best running backs in football. If they lose that, they're going to be in trouble. And speedster, sure, they've got some guys on that team with speed, right? I think, you know, Odell and Jarvis, definitely that possession type, but yeah, bring Witten out of retirement. You know, they have some speed there. They've got a guy that they were big on, and then he kind of he more or less is just speed. What's that?
He fizzled out a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure. So I think they're going to have to add some talent in terms of pass catchers. Njoku's not a top tight end, and I think that's really where they're hurt. When they had Hooper there, I thought the offense was it ran pretty well, where they could kind of handle the middle of the field. So I think that's where they're really hurting, is at tight end. All right. So I heard you left off at Lions Jets.
No, the Lions Steelers. Really didn't need to talk about the Jets or
that's right. Lions
Bills.
Steelers.
So I was at the
Brett lied to me.
Lions Steelers, and I was so hoping for the Lions to pull out this victory, you know, and it just didn't happen. It was a battle of bad quarterbacks and just bad teams right now. You know, you truly, I mean, excuse me, you think of, when you think of bad teams, who do you always put up there in your top, like your Mount Rushmore of bad teams? The Lions, the Jets, you know, you could put the Dolphins up there, maybe the Texans right now. You don't typically put the Steelers. And
But with
right
Mason
now,
Rudolph.
but with Mason Rudolph at the helm, you know, and granted, they have a ton of injuries right now, ton of key people that got hurt during this game, or and that are out for, you know, this week's game and everything else. But you just don't think of the Steelers as a bad team, and it's almost like, and I understand, you know, you have Mason Rudolph back there at quarterback for you right now. Um, but that shouldn't be any excuse to where you're playing down to the level of your opponent, who is an 0 and what, 18, 0 and 17, you know, up to this point, you know, and it just seems like they're their own, the Pittsburgh Steelers are their own worst enemy in a lot of ways. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those games where I was pulling for the Lions, or pulling for Andy to get the monkey off your back there, get that first win of the season, and hopefully build off of it. You know, eating kneecaps and everything all the way through and through. But definitely goes down as a tie, and you might as well just chalk that up to a loss in my book. And then when your own running back, your starting running back, and you know, great running back out of Alabama, Najee Harris, comes out and says, "I didn't know you could tie in the NFL." Where the fuck have you been? Like your entire football playing career. Like, how do you not know this?
Yeah.
You know?
I remember when the Bengals and the Eagles tied one year, and Donovan McNabb, who had been in the league for at least 10 years at the time, I believe, said, like, yeah, I thought we were going to get another chance. I didn't know you could tie. Like, you're a 10-year vet, bro. Like, as a rookie,
Exactly.
I can give you a little bit of slack, but, like, have you really been living in a hole that you don't know that ties have? Like, we haven't gone a season in the last, like, 4 or 5 years without at least a tie in the season. And you have to kind of live in a hole, in my opinion, to not know that you can tie in the NFL. I found that kind of weird, too.
Yeah. Whatever. But yeah, just bad showing overall by both teams.
Yeah. You're getting a little feedback, buddy. It's like buzzing somehow. Yeah.
Sorry. I can't
Nah,
do it
you're
on my
good,
end,
buddy.
so
Yeah. Anyway, you know, this game is kind of the epitome of what the Steelers have put themselves, the situation they put themselves into. with the contract and the way they've structured the contract of Ben Roethlisberger, the number of times they've restructured and kicked the can with the guaranteed money and those sorts of things. So, you know, it really is. Yeah, I don't know what that buzzing is, but it really is a situation that they've kind of strapped themselves with an inability to have a quality backup quarterback, and you can't survive in the NFL these days with the way quarterbacks miss games for one reason or another, concussion protocol, things like that. Like, those are the sorts of things that can knock a guy out for a game, and then you end up in a situation with Roethlisberger missing this week, and Mason Rudolph is just awful. And I posted it on Facebook. This is the way a game with Jared Goff and Mason Rudolph at quarterback should end. It was just a really, really bad situation.
Yeah.
All right. So now we move on to the surprise of the weekend. One of a few surprises, but probably the biggest surprise of the weekend. Washington resurrects themselves from the fucking grave and dominates the Buccaneers. And I know I'm about as pessimistic of a fan as probably there is out there with the way that I've been jaded by Washington for fucking 20 years. But, you know, I had to take a step back after being pissed off all weekend. Like, what the fuck? Why the fuck couldn't we do this all year? Like, it didn't make sense. And I watched this game and I wrote it to you guys. Like, if I'm a Buccaneers fan, man, I'm pretty pissed off about some of the shit that was going on this weekend. Not only from that team, but like, I watched Washington get away with pass interference, with holding wide receivers, with tackling defensive linemen several times in that game that changed the complexity of some of those drives. And I joked about it, like, is this what it feels like to be a Cowboys fan? I get it. I get why Cowboys fans love this feeling, because, like, nothing could go wrong Sunday. Nothing could go wrong. The refs had our backs. We were making plays. We were taking plays away from the Bucs. I was like, man, is this what I get it. I get why Cowboys fans hold this so near and dear to their heart and never want to admit it and want to deflect, because it's such a great feeling. It's like Christmas fucking morning as a football fan. It's unbelievable. So, I get it. So I can't even be mad at you guys anymore. I'm still going to give you shit, but I can't even be mad at you guys anymore.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean, that's why we're here. That's what the whole thing is for, is giving each other shit and everything else. So as long as we keep on winning, it's okay, baby. It's okay.
Exactly. But man, the legend of Taylor Heineke grows. He's been up and down a bit this year, but I don't think the Bucs want to see him again. For some reason, he's got that defense's number. They can't seem to get to him. Guy can make some plays. Antonio Gibson woke up. He's had a real slow season, a couple tutties this weekend. And, you know, it was a big win for Washington. I hope deep down, you know, they can turn it into something and maybe turn this season around. It's not over, right? They're 3-6 now. And if they can get to 9 wins, they can get to 10 wins. You know, you got to rattle off a bunch in a row. But if that defense plays the way it did this past weekend and the offense makes plays the way they did against Tampa going forward, and they can be consistent, then, you know, they've got a chance to maybe contend for a wild card spot, because the NFC is just so erratic right now. It's very deep. You know, there's no teams that have been eliminated to this point. Sometimes we see teams get eliminated early, but some of these divisions and whatnot. So, you know, it's still wide open. I don't have a lot of hope. I am still a pessimistic fan, but, you know, I look at it as maybe there's a possibility that if Washington can build on this as a momentum, you know, a momentum starter, maybe they put themselves in playoff contention come the end of the season, because that offense looked competent this weekend. It's the first time I've been able to say it in a long time, especially really in the Ron Rivera era. It's the first time that I saw the offense actually look like there was some creativity and some bully ball from the offensive line in the running game. I thought the play design was pretty good this weekend. I thought Scott was able to make some calls on third down that were a little bit out of the box, which I've never seen from him. and Heineke playing off schedule like he always does. Add those two things together, or actually those three things, right? The bully from the offensive line getting Gibson lanes to run, and then Turner having actually a pulse as an offensive coordinator, and then Heineke with his creativity. The offense looked competent this weekend, and I don't want to get too high on it because I know next week we're going to punt on the first 5 drives of the fucking game, but it looked like the offense in this game, it looked like the offense sort of turned a corner. McLaurin was doing what McLaurin does, and we get Thomas back here soon, having another tight end threat. Maybe this offense, has some potential moving forward. So I'm cautiously optimistic about what I saw this weekend. I don't want to overreact because that's what all of us fans do, and I always get burned by overreacting to anything Washington does. Anyway.
Yeah, very, very true. And it was, Bruce Arians said it best. They played dumb. It's a dumb team right now.
Self-inflicted wounds, man.
And, as much as, I don't care for Washington just because they're in the same division as Dallas and everything, but it was nice to see that division have some good games this week, and Washington coming out beating Tampa Bay and the Bucks and everything, but hated to see Chase Young go down with a season-ending injury and everything else like that. Second year in the league, with the bright future ahead of him. So I hate to see that, but it was good to see Heineke, especially with all that faith that they kind of put into him with bringing him back, signing him to, what was it, a 2-year deal?
Yeah.
2-year deal and everything. So it was good to see that for him. So.
And no, Raul, I cannot give them a fucking inch. Not 1 inch. Not yet. They haven't earned it. String a couple together and we'll talk. Aaron, I think you're right, though. I'm going to bring this back up. I think you're right that Washington and Philly are scarier than their records show, too. I don't think teams want to play Philly right now with the way they can run the ball.
I agree. I think Philly is more of the scarier team right now than Washington, especially with Chase Young going down, kind of that, that anchor of the Washington defense. But no, I totally agree with you that, Washington and Philly are kind of ghosts in their own shells a little bit, and a lot better than what their record shows. And I agree with you that, I think Philly is more of the team out of the two that you wouldn't want to play right now. If you given the two, you'd pick Washington to play.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because you've only seen it once from the Washington defense, right? And you've seen it a few times from Phillies. Plus, Philly can run the ball really well. Washington, to this point of the season, hasn't run the ball well. They can't control the tempo. That's what they did against Tampa. I mean, fourth quarter started. Tampa went down and scored, and then Washington got the ball back, and they're up. What was it, 26-19 or something, right? Or maybe it was 23-19, whatever it was. But they engineered an 8.5-minute drive, right? Like, that's something Washington doesn't fucking do. And they did it, and they squashed Tampa's chances at a comeback. So, that's something that helps turn a corner as well. When you can say, we're going to run the fucking ball, we're going to move the chains, and we're going to run this clock out on you. That's how you can close games. We've never, under Ron Rivera, we've never been a team that can close either half. That game on Sunday, we closed, and that's something new. We'll have to do it a few times, but that's something new for this team.
Yeah.
All right. Another big surprise from the weekend. Panthers 34, Cardinals 10. I'm going to pass this your way, Stove. Is it official? Are the Cardinals all the way over the crest and now fully in full momentum downhill?
I said this 2 weeks ago. This is one of those, if history has proven itself correct, yes, the Cardinals have reached the top of the mountain, the top of the roller coaster, and They are on their way down, and wow, what a way to go down.
Christian McCaffrey outgained them by himself.
Just coming off
of injury. He didn't have a crazy 250-yard game. He had 180 or 194 combined yards. And outgained the Cardinals. Now, that's a good game. That's not a Christian McCaffrey nuts game. Sure. But that's awful for the Cardinals offense.
And he's coming off of injury.
Yeah. And he only had 6 touches in the second half.
Dude, I don't know what it was, but maybe it was the Cam Newton signing. You bringing the promise back to Carolina. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's whatever. I think you definitely overpaid on that one for sure, especially when he signed last year at the beginning of the season with New England for what was it, $1 million?
$1 million guaranteed and a bunch of escalators, which half of me didn't meet.
Yeah. And you're paying him $10 million and $4 million of it's guaranteed.
I mean, they've got cap space and he had leverage, I guess. I don't know, man. I'm with you. But this was a game Carolina bullied them a bit, running the ball, controlling the tempo, keeping that Arizona offense at bay. Crazy. I think I'm with you though. I think Arizona is. I'm fully out on them now. I think they're on their way, full momentum downhill. All right, now we move on, and I get to peacock just a little bit because the longest active current streak of games with a touchdown pass was extended to 23 this weekend in a win against the Chargers. Kirk Cousins extended his touchdown streak to 23 consecutive games with a touchdown pass, and they knock off the Chargers 27-20. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Chargers, here in a little bit, but the Vikings did what the Vikings wanted to do. They ran the ball. They controlled the game. We've talked about the Chargers defense not being able to stop the run. And we saw a little bit of life out of the Vikings defense, which is a big surprise because they've been not good. Stove, any thoughts on this game? None?
my silence should just say it all right there. But
I got you.
No, I mean, as much as I hate the guy, I hate the team. I rag on you, every single week, almost 6-7 days a week on the guy. I'll give him credit for, the touchdown streak and everything else like that. I mean, yeah, that's an accomplishment. I mean, that's putting your name up there with some top echelon quarterbacks. I'll give him that. Okay.
It's a problem.
It's still, to me, it looked like Minnesota kind of got back to the way things were last year a little bit, to where they were more of a run first team. And that shows with a healthy Dalvin Cook. He's been injured this year. So give them credit for going back to that philosophy. And I think, they kind of have a winning formula right there, to where I think they will keep that formula moving forward, as you should. In my opinion, if you have a running back like Dalvin Cook, and, to what you said a few weeks ago when you were proclaiming him as the second best running back in the NFL, why wouldn't you, be a run first team? Yes, defenses are going to, load the box, and everything else. Okay, fine. So be it. That's why you have RPOs. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Adam Thielen, on the outsides, to where, you can burn people down the middle, down the field and everything, and open up the run game then again. And so give credit to where credit's due with Kirk Cousins there. I will give him credit there. Dalvin Cook for coming back off of injury, kind of getting back into the groove of things. I'm not necessarily going to get on board with them just yet. I
I'm
mean,
not either. I'm not
yeah,
even either. They've lost too many tight games.
too
They've
many
lost too
tight
many
games
games with a
and games
lead.
that where they shouldn't have lost.
Yeah. You can't. You're not going to convince me one weekend beating the Chargers, who seem to be on their way out. You're not going to convince me with that, especially with some of the games I've seen you lose. You get a late lead and then you let the other team run right down the field, or you're missing late field goals, or you're not able to put points. You're not able to squat on drives. So losing games in that way, you're not convincing me with one win against the Chargers. To answer Brett's question, back to Carolina. So they're not technically paying him two contracts, like actively paying him two contracts. When you release a guy, like you pay out the guaranteed money, and that's kind of like a buyout payout type thing. And I'm sure they like prorate it and those sorts of things, and the way they structure how they get paid and blah 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 blah. Technically his contract is no longer on the books because all of that dead money from the release accelerated into last year's cap hit. So technically no. Anyway, now, yeah, now they're paying him again this year, obviously, and the meme is great. The Camception meme where they're paying him, they're paying his replacement, and they're paying his replacement's replacement, all while bringing him back to replace his replacement's replacement. So good fun. Anyway, moving on. We just talked about him a little bit. The Eagles dominate the Broncos. Darius Slay has that fumble return touchdown where Teddy Bridgewater essentially quit on the play, and Vic Fangio was having none of it after the game. I think if Teddy Bridgewater makes a play there, it might change the momentum of the game because that was a pretty pivotal play. However, the Eagles did what the Eagles wanted to do against the Broncos, and the Broncos had no answer. The Broncos are so wishy-washy, and the only reason they're still alive is because the AFC West has been so bad this year, with the Chiefs being down as much as they are. But we're going to talk about them in a minute. With the Chiefs looking like they may have figured some things out on the offensive side of the ball, the Broncos and the Chargers and the Raiders are all going to look back and say, fuck, we missed an opportunity with the Chiefs down to squash them, and they didn't do it. Any thoughts on this game, Stove?
No, other than, Denver's kind of been, like you said, wishy-washy throughout the season. I understand with, trading of, Von Miller and everything, your cornerstone of your defense there. But your defense, throughout the season, or should have been, one of those top defenses. And they started off the season, 3-4-0 and everything like that. But that defense has kind of gone downhill since then as well too. So really on this one, Eagles kind of took care of business where they should, and kind of building some momentum up in that division there a little bit there, as they get into the kind of the heart of their season, and when they go play Dallas and Washington and everything here down the stretch, maybe they can build off of that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Aaron, that's an interesting observation too. I didn't even think about it till you just said it, but yeah, like Philly and Washington beat Tampa, and Denver were the only two teams to beat Dallas this year. So that's the way the NFL is, man. It's any given Sunday, and it's usually weird. We just happen to have a little bit more weirdness this weekend in some ways. Speaking of weirdness, we had a Packers-Seahawks game finish 17-0. Stove, was this more defense, in the Seahawks defense being much improved? And we know the Packers have been playing good defense basically all year, with the exception of that Saints game. Was this a product of that, or was this more a product of Russ coming off the injury and Aaron, Rodgers not being able to practice with the team for 10 days?
I kind of want to say a little bit of both, but I'm not going to waffle here. I'm going to go with a little bit of the defense. I'm going to go with the defensive side of things. Yes, Aaron didn't practice for a week and a half, whatever it is, but he's Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
Right.
And it's
You think
Russell
of that
Wilson.
guy, you think of somebody who can just throw his cleats on and go play in the fucking sandbox somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. Russell Wilson, he didn't look bad at all coming up, for missing, 3 weeks, whatever it was. And so to me, on the Seahawks side of things, I think it's more of a chemistry issue right now. And I'm not blaming it on Russell being injured for 3 weeks. I think they don't have a run game really.
I think Carson being down hurts them a lot more than people think.
Yeah. And so
Alex Collins is an okay change of pace back. He's not a lead back.
Yeah. So, I mean, those reasons, I think factor into it, but I think it was more of a defensive game for me on both sides of the ball. Like you said, the Packers defense has kind of been there aside from that first game of the season against the Saints. They've been there all season long. And I think it's one of those defenses that we've just overlooked because of how potent their offense is with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams.
Superstars on that side.
Yeah. You have so many superstars on the offense that your defense gets overlooked. And I think, more teams prepare for the offensive side of things than they do the defensive side, and so, we as, sports fans look at that maybe more than what we should. And so we don't give credit to those guys on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, they've been playing great defense late.
I think I'm with you on that with one exception. Russ looked a little rusty in like the red zone. He threw a couple of picks in the end zone, which isn't like him normally. I think it is on the defense though, right? The Packers, that's kind of their over the last few weeks has really been something they've fixed. And it started in the Washington game, which I never thought I would say this, but like somebody used that Washington game to get right. Right? Usually people just stomp on them and then their problems reemerge the following week. But like the Packers defense was the worst in the league in the red zone going into the game against Washington. And since then, they've been phenomenal in the red zone, including against Russ, and 2 picks, I believe, in the end zone from Russ. It might even have been more than that. There was a large number of turnovers that were deep in Packers territory. At least 2 of them I know happened in the end zone. It might have been more than that, but not good on that side. Like you can't win turning the ball over in the red zone, but as a defense, if you can turn teams over in the red zone, you're going to win a lot of fucking games. All right. Last couple of games here. I'm going to go to the Monday night game first because I want to save Chiefs Raiders for last. I want to kind of wax a little bit about that game. So I'm giving everybody a fair warning. Niners Rams though, the Niners 6 straight wins or 5 straight wins against the Rams. They just seem to bully them all the fucking time. They've got McVay's number, running the ball down their throats with Aaron Donald and Von Miller, the new addition, and it seemed like Jimmy G was really comfortable in the pocket. Deebo fucking Samuel, if you haven't figured it out yet, you can't tackle that guy. You cannot tackle that fucking guy. He's a running back playing wide receiver. They line him up in the backfield sometimes, but when he gets the ball in his hands, good fucking luck. So what'd you take away from this game?
Well, so real quick, going into the final night of football for the week, and going down to the fantasy wire, I had Matthew Stafford left on my team to go. And my opponent had Deebo Samuels. So I'm like, all right, I got in the bag here. I was feeling it, I'm liking Stafford, I don't care about the OBJ addition. I really don't. I think it was a shitty move on their part. I think he's trash. I think he's washed up. And the curse of OBJ is real. I ended up losing by, I think, 18 points. So thank you, Deebo Samuels, and for getting 38 points, what my quarterback was supposed to get, and my quarterback getting 13 points, what Deebo was supposed to get. So, really appreciate that. And the first play,
thanks, Haskins.
Yeah, thanks, Haskins. Exactly. But you said it last night, and it showed first play from scrimmage for the Rams. Who they throw the ball to? OBJ. What happened? Gave up on the ball.
Yep.
Didn't even finish his route or anything.
Walks off the field shaking his head. Wants to go complain to the backup quarterback.
Yeah, like get the fuck out of here, bud. Get out of here. Like,
God.
Like, pack your bags up. Like, don't even unpack your boxes. Whatever.
Yeah. What's the record for fastest release?
Like, go find another team because the rank, you don't need him. You didn't need him when you signed him. But a day later, when you had Robert Woods go down mysteriously with an ACL injury, I'm playing the conspiracy theory here.
Beckham's dad
then he could fit
Tanya
into
Harding
that
on him
role or what. But man, it would, and like you said, San Fran just doing anything they wanted to and running the ball right down the middle of the field. They were passing the ball down the middle of the field. And I don't know if you I don't think you probably watched the Manning cast or anything else like that. But Peyton pointed out, he's like, I don't know what the Rams defenders are doing on the sidelines or anything over there. Like, get to the middle of the field. They're not throwing it to the sidelines. They're throwing it down the middle of the field. Like,
they almost never looked outside the hash.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was George Kittle, it was Deebo Samuel, and it was Elijah Mitchell coming right at you.
Yeah. It really looked like San Fran and Shanahan dug into their playbook a lot this past week and almost turned their offense into more of a college style offense with a lot of the misdirection runs and everything else that they pulled out.
Yeah, they were on Wednesday and Thursday. Like, who's got an idea? Who's got an idea? Bring them all.
Yep. Yeah.
You want to run the oop-de-oop? We'll run the oop-de-oop.
The oop-de-oop?
What the fuck is an oop-de-oop?
Goddamn.
Oh, Jesus. Just run the fucking play, Mox.
Oopty fucking oop. Give me a break.
All right. So let's talk Chiefs. Let's talk Raiders. I know you're tired of hearing about the Chiefs, but I am going to go in a little bit on this game. I'm going to pass it your way first. What sort of thoughts, what sort of takeaways do you have from this Chiefs-Raiders game? 41-14. Chiefs put a shellacking on the Raiders. Some of the mystique of Rich Bisaccia may be wearing off here. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah. This one, it almost makes you believe that the Chiefs are back, playing like they should have been playing all throughout the season. It makes you go back to, last year, how they were playing this time of year, putting up those points. The Raiders, on the other hand, man, they're kind of one of those teams, and it was kind of the same time last year. You don't know what Raiders team you're going to get. You don't know what
think they're emotionally exhausted too.
Yeah. And so, I'm not buying all the Kool-Aid that the Chiefs are back by any means. I mean, that defense is still a very big question in my book. But, you're doing something right when you hold the Raiders to 14 points, with Carr back there, with I can't even think of the running back. He's on my my fantasy team too. So that was awesome. But no, it was one of those. It was a good win for Kansas City. Don't get me wrong. It's hopefully for their sake, it propels them into the right direction. They get things figured out and moving forward because they're going to need to. But I'm still not buying the Kool-Aid on that one yet. But a good win for them. Bad loss for Las Vegas. If it was a close loss, I think it would have been, a good loss for him. But getting blown out like that to Kansas City, to where you guys have been playing them tight, especially last year and everything, and with the weapons you have both on offense and defense, it kind of bad loss for Vegas there.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm with you that I'm not buying fully in, right? I'm not here to tell you the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. I'm not here to tell you the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, right? But what I do want to talk about is what we saw from that offense is what I have been clamoring for all season, and I know I'm not by myself, right? There's a lot of analysts that have been out there saying a lot of the same things, right? It isn't even necessarily the patience. It's designing plays that are going to beat cover 2 defenses. The Raiders were in the same defense, and they have similar personnel. They've got a couple of really good safeties on that team, pretty decent pass rush up front, and the Chiefs were able to get guys open early, get the ball out quick, and be able to protect Mahomes. He wasn't running around with his hair on fire all game like he has been in other games this year. He's not forcing balls into small windows where wide receivers have, contested catches, and we see a lot of drops from the receivers. What I really liked from the Chiefs offense was plays going across the field, right? We're seeing a lot of horizontal from a team that has a ton of athletes, a ton of speed, and a guy that can get the ball to them in space with the ability to make plays, right? And that's how the Chiefs are going to get people out of the cover 2 schemes. You can't play cover 2 against that all day because they're going to make you miss. They're going to make some plays here, and Tyreek Hill's going to find a soft spot in the zone. Travis Kelce's going to dominate you over the middle. If they're running drag routes, instead of just running all the stop routes, the option routes, get him on drag routes, get him on quick hitters across the middle. That's how they're going to play teams out of this cover 2 scheme. And then later in the season, when teams realize they can't play that cover 2, they're going to start to see some cover 1s, some cover 0s that teams have to start bringing guys down into the short and intermediate zones, and they're going to be able to let Tyreek Hill just use that cheetah speed and get lost, right? Just hit your head on the goalpost, buddy. That's when we're going to start to see the Chiefs get back to being the Chiefs, right? And I think this game lays the groundwork for that. If they come back out next week and just start running 4 verts all fucking day, then, well, fuck you, Andy Reid. I tried to give you a little credit this week. I'm not going to stick by you, right? But if they continue to do those things next week and continue to make those plays in the short and intermediate zone, and let Travis Kelce fucking eat, bro. Let him eat. 11 catches, 119 yards, I think it was. Let that dude eat, because he opens up stuff for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was running around like a dude who nobody knew how to cover him in that game because they had to focus on Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
You've got to run your offense through Travis Kelce against these cover 2 schemes because he's the best tight end in football. He's impossible to cover underneath. And when he's got the ball in his hands, he can make dudes miss or run them the fuck over, punish teams, open up stuff for Tyreek Hill. I'm not even too worried about the fact that they didn't run the ball very well. They ran the ball okay, but they didn't run it very well. I don't even care about that. If you're going to be running these horizontal schemes, getting guys open in space, that's how the Chiefs are going to beat cover 2 defenses. And I saw a lot of that on Sunday night. And as the game was going on, I started to think, oh shit, the Chiefs might be back. If I'm the AFC, I'm worried, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not what I want to see. I don't want to see the Chiefs putting up 40 fucking points the week before I got to play them. That's for damn sure. So
yeah.
I'm not yet ringing the bell. We're not saying the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, but I liked what I saw Sunday night. And if they stick with that, I think the AFC might be in some trouble.
Yeah. Nope, I agree.
All right. I'm going to wait because I think Raul's going to be joining us shortly. I'm going to leave that segment to him. I think let's roll into preview for this week, and then we'll save Cap and Facts for for a little bit. We gotta, let's see.
Yeah, whenever he logs in, because I can barely hear you. It's all on my end, so I apologize.
Okay.
I can barely hear you, and then internet here is real spotty here in this great hotel here in Charlotte. So whenever he logs in, I'm probably gonna get off here. You guys carry it the rest of the way, but I'll try and check in with comments and everything else like that.
Do you have the graphic for our picks?
Should be on there, shouldn't it? Check overlays.
There it is. Got it. Sorry.
Boom.
All right. So we're going to look at week 11 here. Looks like in the Patriots-Falcons game, we're pretty consistent across the board here. I don't think there's really a surprise there. Patriots are playing really good football right now. Falcons are playing up and down football. A good game 2 weeks ago, real bad game this past week. So, they got the brakes beat off them this past week. So Patriots in that, we're all in agreement. We're all in agreement here with Packers over the Vikings. I liked what I saw from the Vikings last week, but I really like what I'm seeing from that Packers defense. So I think combine that with a week of practice for Ron. I'm assuming that's why we're all in agreement across the board here. Another one here, Browns over Lions. Lions they're just not that good. Should be a bounce back week for the Browns. Titans over the Texans, division rival. Maybe the Texans stick with them for a little while. No Derrick Henry. But Deontay Foreman looks like he's coming into shape in that Tennessee offense. Looks like they're going to give him the reins. So all you fantasy players out there. But Tennessee across the board here over the Texans. Looks like we've got one dissenting opinion on Jets Dolphins. Stove, before you log off here, I'm going to pass the mic to you. Jets over the Dolphins?
Yeah, bud. Yeah, it's one of those games where I'm still not fully sold on the Dolphins and Tua here. And so it's just going to be one of those games between two bad teams, and it's almost a coin flip. And I'm just going to go with the Jets here and Mike White getting the job done. So give me that JETS.
Yeah, buddy. I like it. Way to stand by your pick. Way to stand by your pick. All right. I'm going to bring Raul in here. Hey, buddy.
Oh, hey.
How you doing? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. More technical difficulties? Okay, while he figures that out, we'll move on. Bengals Raiders. The only dissenting opinion here is Andy. I'm assuming this was probably a coin flip for him. Two teams that appear to be on the downslope. The Bengals have lost a couple of games that they shouldn't have. So I think two teams on the downslope. Maybe Andy flipped a coin and it came up black and silver. But moving on to Seahawks Cardinals. We've got a little bit of a – no, we don't even have a little bit of a split. We have one on the island, and that is the guy who's not here. He can't even defend his pick. I think Russ, week of practice, I think he's gonna knock the rust off. And like we talked about earlier, Stowe, man, the Cardinals just feel like they are on their way out, honestly. Raul, do we have you yet?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. We are in business. Welcome, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't see you guys, but I'm sure you're with me in spirit.
Yes, for sure. We are looking at week 11 picks. Let's see.
I see that. Good visual.
Now?
Hey.
All right. Next matchup, Bucks Giants. No dissenting opinions here. We are consistent across the board. Bucks bounce back against the Giants. Better not lose two in a row to the seller of the NFC East.
Oh, you forgot the bye week. The bye week.
Yes. Did someone make picks in the bye week?
Yeah,
Stove did. Denver's going to win the bye week. Okay?
I think Denver's going to win the bye week here. They're going to get Bridgewater's going to figure some stuff out here. Defensive side of the ball, they're going to figure some things out, get back on track here, and they're going to win the bye week.
Rams are going to have to deal with OBJ in the bye week. That's always a loss.
Yeah,
always a big L. All right. Ravens, Bears, we've got one on the island, and he's here.
Yep.
So, Raul, Bears, what's up, buddy? You got Justin Fields. You feeling
Justin Fields, and fuck Kirk Cousins.
All right.
It's very simple. Gonna get clean
that.
and to the point. Yeah, Bears. It's gonna go down. That's my upset for the week.
Sounds good. We are even across the board here. I'm surprised there weren't any Colts picks, but I think being at home, they're the outdoor team playing a dome team in Buffalo in November. I imagine that was why a lot of people went with Buffalo, on top of the fact that Buffalo should continue the bounce back. So any other thoughts on Colts Bills? All right. We've got one island here. I'm on the island, and I'm probably going to get burned by the fact that I'm buying in a little bit to Washington, but I liked what I saw from the offense last week. I liked the creativity. Haven't been able to say that since Scott Turner was hired. I liked how Heineke worked within the offense, both on and off schedule, the way they want him to play aggressively. McLaurin is a fucking man out there. And Gibson got going. If they can continue to run the ball, if they run the ball against the Panthers, they should be able to dictate tempo and control things here. But if we get back to fucking 2 yards in a cloud of dust on the running game and 3rd and 8, and suddenly Heineke's got to try to make a Herculean play, our offense just isn't built for that. So I'm banking on the offensive line seizing some of that momentum, continue the running game, keep it going, and let Heineke fucking eat. Any dissenting opinions?
No, I mean, I think I'm just banking on this revamped chemistry in Carolina and Cam maybe coming out and showing out a little bit. But then again, Cam's also going to Cam. I just think that I'm curious to see how the defense is going to handle that without Chase Young.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a little, reuniting with Cam and everything. Home game, for him and everything else. But don't get me wrong. I would love to see Washington win this one, but I feel like Carolina will.
Yeah, I think one big thing I worry about if I'm Carolina fans, if I'm that Carolina coaching staff, the big thing I worry about here is McCaffrey only got 6 touches in the second half of that game, and we saw him in the medical tent.
Yep.
I'm worried, right? Is there something going on there? Are we going to find out on Thursday or Friday that he's ruled out? Because if he's ruled out, that changes the whole dynamic of that offense for sure. So I'm worried. I'm worried quite a bit about that if I'm a Panther fan. So. All right, next matchup here. We've got an island, and it's not the island I expected to see. Raul, you are on an island with San Fran over Jacksonville.
Jacksonville deserves no fucking credit, period. They deserve no attention. The most attention that's deserved from Jacksonville is purely because of the shenanigans coming from the fucking head coach position. I will not give them a win over a soup sandwich of a team, but still, I'm surprised that I'm on the island.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. And in my own defense, like I made this pick before I watched San Francisco fucking crush the Rams. So like, I'm going to use that as my excuse. It's not a fair excuse, but like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to get that one wrong this week.
Yeah.
Stove, what about you?
Yeah. No, I'm right there.
In what world? Like I'm all about like riding the wave, that's where I stood with Carolina, riding the wave. But Jacksonville, dude, they've got one win in this country. Like, come on.
Yeah, and I'm not even
the last calendar year.
Yeah, and I'm not a big Urban Meyer fan either. So it was, I don't want to waffle, so I'm going to stay with my pick. I'm going to keep it,
Yeah.
As is, but go San Fran.
I'm going to stick with it, but know that I'm going to get it wrong.
Yeah, we'll own it. We'll own up to
it. Chalk that one up in the L column. All right, moving on. We got New Orleans, Philly. We've got a house divided. Andy's not here to defend his Philly pick. I'll defend the Saints a bit. I think the defense is going to be able to slow down that running game. I think that New Orleans on offense, getting Kamara back is going to be a big deal, assuming he's healthy. If he's down, it's going to be another struggle for them. But I just think that New Orleans defense is going to be too much for Philly. Stove, thoughts on Philly?
It's just one of those. It's one of those where past couple weeks we've seen Philly kind of play a lot better than where they were at the beginning of the season. And so coming off that big victory this last week, it's just, I think it's just, I'm riding the Philly wave just off of momentum right now. That New Orleans, with Simeon and Taysom Hill kind of going back and forth a little bit. But I really think Simeon cemented himself as the starting quarterback with his performance this last weekend. It'll be interesting to see if he can back that performance up with another good performance here. If he can, then I think it's going to be a real good ball game between these two teams. But if not, I think Philly will have the slight edge then if Simeon plays poorly.
Yeah, for sure. Raul, any counter thoughts to that?
No, I mean, I definitely don't blame Andy or Stove for calling Philly on this. I think Philly's definitely on the upward tick, and depending on what kind of shaky shit we see coming out of the Cowboys in December, we could still see the Eagles fucking take the division. Like, that's entirely possible.
Yeah, I don't expect that, but yeah, I think you're right that Philly's got division games left, and if Washington and New York continue to be bad, they can essentially chalk up 4 wins there, and suddenly they find themselves potentially in the thick of the division, especially with the Cowboys schedule right now. It's going to heat up for a couple of weeks. So,
speaking of Cowboys, so we're moving on to that next game, and we have a house divided here. And luckily for you, Gary, you're the only one for the Chiefs here to defend yourself. I'll speak for Raul here, but picking the Cowboys this week, that defense of Kansas City still not sold on it one bit, and if history within the last couple of weeks has proven anything and repeats itself here with Kermit the Frog, throwing INTs against that Cowboys defense here, with Diggs and, who's leading the NFL with like 8 interceptions in 9 games. It's going to be a good W for the Cowboys and Cowboy Nation this week.
Yeah, no, I totally sympathize with that thought process. If the Chiefs turn the ball over, they can't beat the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys are going to run the ball against them. The Cowboys are going to try to control field position. They're going to try to control the tempo. That Chiefs defense is still suspect. They've played a little better at times here in the last few weeks, but they've not by any stretch been good. Or not even resembling a great defense at this point. But I'm gonna go back to what we saw Sunday night. I liked the approach. I liked what they did to get playmakers open in space. I think that Cowboys defense is susceptible to some of that over pursuit. They try to fly to the ball. It's Dan Quinn's style. I don't think that Mahomes is gonna make the same mistakes we've seen him make. I think he cleaned up pretty well Sunday night. If they turn it over, though, they're going to be in big trouble against this Cowboys team. The Cowboys are going to have the ability, I think, if the Chiefs are turning the ball over, the Cowboys are going to have the ability to control this game.
I don't see a situation where the Kansas City defense is going to be able to keep up with that Pollard Elliott 1-2 punch on top of. I mean, we've seen some. I mean, I've seen some pretty fucking obnoxious drops from CD Lamb, but we've seen him break
What he
loose.
does, though, he gives you the big play and then he takes it away.
Right.
That's what CD Lamb is, yeah, for sure.
Right.
I don't disagree.
He's like the Jameis Winston of receivers.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't disagree with either of you, right? I think that the Cowboys are going to, one, try to, and I think they're going to, two, have success running the ball. My basis of this pick is that the Chiefs are going to outscore the Cowboys. I think this is going to be a 38, 35, 37, 34 type game. I think the Chiefs are going to outscore them. I think it's, in the end, that's what I anticipate this game being.
Yeah, whatever the spread is, I'm taking the under. It's going to be close.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game for sure. All right, and we'll close out the Week 11 preview with a game. We are a house divided again. Andy's not here to defend the Chargers, so I'm going to pass it over to Stove. You think the Chargers right the ship this week, or do you think the Steelers are just kind of on their way out?
No, I think the Chargers right the ship here, especially with Roethlisberger being out. You have Mason Rudolph starting for Pittsburgh here. It's just going to be one of those games where I think we're going to see Air Bear go off for maybe 400 yards and maybe 3 tutties. And the Steelers just have so many injuries right now, both offensively and defensively. Mika Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt, who knows if how many of those guys are going to be playing this week too. So it could just be one of those, just throw a team together for Pittsburgh and let's just see what happens type thing for Tomlin and the company. So that's why I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah, I think Roethlisberger clears protocol and maybe plays, but I know the Steelers are preparing to not have him, which they should be doing because there is still a risk that he won't play. If Ben doesn't play, this is another one I'm going to get wrong. Because if he doesn't play, Mason Rudolph shouldn't even be in the NFL, let alone starting a fucking game on Monday night. So, if Rudolph's starting at quarterback for the Steelers, I'm fully prepared for this one to be incorrect as well. Raul, thoughts on the Steelers? Feel the same way?
I don't think that. Yeah, I mean, like Mason Rudolph is kind of the real fucking the asterisk there for me. And honestly, I just don't have any faith in the Chargers yet. I don't know what's going on with that team, but surely they've got to shake it off eventually because I feel like going into the beginning of the season, they were like a too early contender to be, a force to be reckoned with. And instead, they've just shit the bed week after week.
A month ago, we're talking about them being the most complete team in football. Now we're wondering if they're ever going to win another game. Crazy.
Yep.
Tough go.
All right. That concludes Week 11's preview. And now we'll move on to the most important part of the show, our Salute to Service, brought to you by Folds of Honor.
All right. Episode 86. Our Folds of Honor Salute to Service is going to be dedicated to Navy Electronics Technician 3rd Class Benjamin Johnson, who passed away November 18th, 2001, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 21 years old, from Rochester, New York, based out of Norfolk Naval Station, Virginia. He passed away on board an Iraqi freighter that sank in the Persian Gulf. So, Navy, ET3, Ben Johnson, we have the watch.
All right. Now we get to try to transition. We are going to move on to Cap and Facts. All right. Our first cap or facts for this week is.
Hey, Gary, real quick, I'm gonna have to let you
Yep.
guys go. Sorry, can't
All
make
right,
it
buddy.
the full time tonight, but gotta let you guys
Oh, man.
go.
Appreciate
Raul,
you holding it down. For
Always a
15
pleasure to
minutes.
see you, my man.
Take care, buddy.
Hey, anytime, Gary. Anytime. All right, I'll holler at you boys later.
Later.
Stove really did fucking hold it down too.
He really did. Yeah, I did. I imagine he was just keeping you in line.
No, like I wasn't even on the show for the first 15 minutes. I didn't realize that we were going live. After everybody was like, "Let's try to reschedule," I started watching a show with Lacey, so I jumped on like 15 minutes fucking late.
We just look good as a unit this week, boys.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's go cap or facts here. The Packers have a Super Bowl caliber defense. Cap or facts, Raul?
When I think about Super Bowl caliber defenses, I think about what once was the Denver defense. I think about the real defenses that we've seen kind of forming up in Cleveland. I don't know if the Packers have a Super Bowl caliber defense, but if I had to guess one or the other, if I had to commit to one, I'm definitely saying Cap. And so thinking about a Super Bowl caliber defense, you're going to have to be able to put up with the shooters. Like Buffalo on a streak, does Green Bay keep up with that in a Super Bowl? Does Green Bay keep up with the AFC's Buffalo Bills absolute shootout, Stephon Diggs, Beasley, the works? Everybody's just firing on all cylinders. Nah. So I don't think there's very many teams that take that on. But yeah, I would say that as of now, that's Cap. What about you?
I think in today's NFL, the Packers have a Super Bowl caliber defense. I'm facts on this because of the nature of today's game. The Packers are very strong in two areas that make a big difference for them. Looking ahead to December and January, they're very strong on the edge. They can rush the passer, and they are really strong on the back end. They've got very good safeties. They've got good corners on the outside. They've got the number one rated or top 2 or 3 rated man-to-man cover corner in the league over the last couple of years. So I think it's facts. I just think they have enough playmakers at those two levels that it's gonna give problems to other teams. And we've seen that. I mean, they blanked Russell Wilson last week, and I know Russ is coming off the injury, but we've seen them play really well for about 10 weeks now after that New Orleans debacle. So I think I'm facts on this. They held the Chiefs down too, right? Like Jordan Love lost to Patrick Mahomes 13-7, and Jordan Love had no business even taking a snap from the fucking center. That's how bad he is, and they lost 13-7. So I think the Packers do have a Super Bowl caliber defense.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
They got to get there first.
Yeah, that's true. All right, next up here, cap or facts. The Bucs are in big trouble.
Cap.
Big trouble in Little Tampa.
Cap. As long as Tom Brady is a fucking human being on a roster, that team is not in trouble. Little ever so slightly injury ridden, maybe. I don't know. I'm not obviously not as impressed with Gronk as we've seen past. He's not the Gronk of old, but no, that team's not in trouble. Now, tough division, tough conference. I mean, the NFC's got fucking heat everywhere. But to say that they're in trouble, no, I don't think so. That's Cap.
I'm going the other way, Bob. I'm going the other way. I think they are in really big trouble, and it has a lot to do with what I saw from them this weekend against a team that doesn't take the ball away very well, against a team that doesn't move the ball very well on offense, against a team that scored twice on opening drives since Scott Turner was hired. We scored on our first 4 possessions against Tampa. I think there's a lot of dysfunction on that defense. I also think that they are, as you mentioned, injury riddled. They are very light, very thin on the back end. Richard Sherman is apparently he's mad, bro. But I think from that perspective, and then the turnovers on offense, they're careless with the football. Wide receivers are dropping balls. Wide receivers are fumbling, or basically drop passes are falling into defenders' hands. Fournette's been careless with the ball. Tom even had some plays this weekend that he looked like he was just out of sorts. That one pick he threw to Bobby McCain was telegraphed. It was a terrible throw, and it hit Bobby McCain in the numbers. Like, I don't like what I saw from them this weekend, and I don't like what I've seen from them in consecutive games because they looked just as discombobulated against the Saints. Now, you make a great point that if there's a team that can look like shit in November and figure it the fuck out in December and January and go win a Super Bowl, it's the one that's got number 12 at quarterback, right? So
28-3,
right.
It's just
exactly.
And with Tom Brady, it really is any fucking given Sunday, dude.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's just any given fourth quarter, any given 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter. Like it's just he'll figure out a way.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. Next option here, Capper Facts. The Patriots have enough offensive weapons to make a deep playoff run.
I feel like it's loaded because you're saying enough, and that's subjective.
Sure.
But to make a deep playoff run, assuming everybody stays healthy, I mean, yeah. I think because you're watching this chemistry build in very similar fashion to Bill and Tom building with Mac and Bill. And it's kind of impressive. We talked about it a little bit last week, and then obviously in the preseason we were talking about the draft, Bill Belly being the winner of the draft, grabbing Mac Jones. But man, just he fucking gets it, dude. And the offensive weapons altogether just make it that much more lethal. Yeah, the exit of Cam Newton in New England could not have come at a more fortunate time.
For sure.
It's the absolute truth. So I'm gonna say facts.
Yeah, I'm with you on it for one reason and one reason only, and it is the growth of Mac Jones within Josh McDaniel's system. You mentioned it, right? That chemistry that's building, his grasp of the offense, and the way he spreads the ball to 7 different receivers on a weekly fucking basis, and his ability to check at the line of scrimmage as a rookie, right? He's doing the things that Stove and I were huge on Mac Jones last year. So I'm going to give Stove credit for this as well. But his IQ as a football player is what separates him from most rookies we've ever seen play this game, right? He gets it, and he got it so quickly that he has the ability to check at the line of scrimmage and make the right check. We saw Ramondre Stevenson just bulldoze dudes last week because they were getting into favorable box numbers, and Mac was checking at the right time, getting him the ball. The offensive line is just road grading, and it opens up everything else. When he's wearing on a defense, it opens everything else. So I'm with you. Facts on this. It's not because of the weapons themselves. It's because of how those weapons are being utilized by both Josh McDaniels and Mac Jones. All right. Last one here, Capper Facts. The Chargers were fool's gold.
I wanted so hard to say facts to this. I wanted to just like feed into the high beast and like, yep, 100% facts, but I don't. I think that they are fully capable of turning this shit around. I think that this is just, they're in a weird growing phase, growing pains with a young quarterback, maybe some dynamic shifts in the offense. But they've got the team, no doubt. I mean, Austin Eckler, he's gonna be another top tier running back this year. There's plenty of offensive weapons. That line is holding solid for Justin. I don't know if it's Justin specifically, or maybe just the offensive scheme that he's got to run in, but I have no reason to believe that they're not going to be successful again at any point in time in the season. Like, I'm confident that they're going to turn this shit around.
I'm facts on this. I think that I've seen enough from them over the last few weeks that they're not ready. I think what I think this is twofold. What happened is they played so well for the first 7 weeks of the season that I am guilty of it as much as anybody. I bought in and said, this team looks like the complete team. The defense was playing really well. The offense was lighting people up. And then we saw teams start to run the ball and control the tempo against the Chargers and get Justin Herbert in situations where he felt like he has to score touchdowns on every single drive. And we've seen him turn the ball over a bit. We've seen him miss guys. We've seen them go 3 and out more often than we were early in the season. I think they have an opportunity to turn it around. I think they could still contend for a wild card spot. I don't think they're going to win that division, but I think
that doesn't make them fool's gold, though. That just makes them inconsistent.
We were talking about them for the Super Bowl, though.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. No, you're right.
That's kind of what I'm comparing it to. So that's for me, especially, right? Because I was screaming it from the mountaintops. They look like the most complete team in football, and they're not, clearly. I think they are one season away, and I think this offseason they go get some guys that are going to help them in the middle of that defense, and that's going to make a big difference for them next year, and we could see the Chargers be that team next year.
Well, what do you say we revisit that conversation in like week 8 of next year?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Probably a good time to have that.
All right. Moving on. We've got a couple of segments left here. We're going to move on to Thanks Haskins. All right. My Thanks Haskins this week is a continuing theme with these NFL officials. It's getting worse. It's getting much, much worse. It's times when I turn on games or I watch highlights and like there's phantom calls that influence the outcomes of games, and we've got to stop that, right? Because it leads into this tinfoil hat theory of the NFL is fixed. The end of they decide who they want to win games. It's hard to argue against that when the NFL continues to have these situations where officials are influencing the outcomes of games. We talked about it last week with now I forget his Correnti running into a Chicago Bears player with his hip while throwing a flag on him for a bogus taunting call. This taunting shit is getting out of control. Taunting should not be a thing in the NFL anymore. They've taken it too far one way. It's too much. We've got to get some sort of grip on these fucking officials. I'm not here to watch you, bro. I'm not fucking here to watch you. You're influencing games. It's not okay. Jesus Christ.
Well, here's the thing. Like, inside of 2 minutes, 1 possession game, taunting calls should be fucking non-existent. You know what I mean? Like, if we're talking about game-changing outcomes, then we absolutely have to tell the taunting calls to go fuck themselves and the referees that throw those flags to go fuck themselves. And looking directly at fucking Correnti or whatever the fuck his name is. He is, that guy's a prime example. And then to see in his post-game an interview where he acknowledges the taunting, but then he just brushes off the hip check.
Yeah.
As if he goes, well, the contact had nothing to do with it. Okay, well, then explain yourself.
Well, you initiated the contact.
Right. Let's not just roll past the fact that was that was Mike Tomlin tripping the fucking, you know what I mean? Trying to trip somebody on the sideline. It's the same fucking thing. Like, you're initiating contact.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah, that's I feel like that's going to be everybody's Thanks Haskins, because that was pretty much mine. And
it's too much.
I was actually just going to go into the boxing realm, though. I was going to say that I haven't seen a single boxing card in the last probably 2 or 3 years where I didn't see one judge score something where it's down the line, fucking 48-49, 48-49, 46-49. What are we doing here?
Yeah. It's crazy.
I just feel like you've got to. It really is getting old because that, especially if you got a split decision, if that's your deciding factor, is somebody who scores something fucking 46-49 or something outrageous. Get it better. Just we got to do better. Period. This shit is. It's. I mean, it's UFC. We've seen it. Boxing. I feel like we see it a little bit more predominantly. But yeah, I mean, I feel like these judges need to be held accountable, just like the referees need to be held accountable. And we've had many podcasts talking about referee accountability, but officiating in general needs to be fucking held accountable. And that's where I'm at with that. So thanks, Haskins, for fucking ruining a sport that I love.
For sure. All right, let's finish up here with DMK. My DMK moment comes from the Patriots blowout of the Cleveland Browns. Mac Jones hits Hunter Henry in the corner of the end zone on a play that, for me, I think epitomizes why I think that the Patriots do have the offense that can sustain, because they've got a quarterback that can make those throws, and they've got some ball players that can make some plays. They don't have superstars on the outside. They don't have superstars at tight end. Hunter Henry's probably as close as they're going to get with superstars at tight end. But that play, Mac Jones puts it in a position for Hunter Henry to go make a play. And Hunter Henry reciprocates, makes that play, had 2 tutties on the day, but one of them really, really pretty in the corner of the end zone. And for that, I say, damn, K.
Damn K indeed. Fucking Mac Jones just getting into that Billy Belly stride, and I'm with it. My damn K is gonna go to fucking Max Holloway for just being not only being like just one of the best brawlers we've probably ever seen in UFC. Maybe ever, dude. Like, I'm talking a lot of shit right now, but it's the truth. Like, Max Holloway might be the biggest slugger we've ever seen. Period. Brawler. Iron chin. Man's made of fucking diamond. Like, I know Dustin's the diamond, but that chin is fucking, like, I mean, we're talking 40 carats of fucking straight blood diamonds, son. This shit is not conflict free. Okay, is all I'm saying. So damn K goes to Max Holloway, not only for being like just this brutal human being inside of the octagon, but being an absolute gentleman and a fucking sportsman out of it. The man runs out to the ambulance to fucking say, hey, dude, we got the 50, meaning they got the fight of the night. They got the bonus, and he was just celebrating with his competitor. And you don't see that enough. We talked about Colby Covington and the shtick that he kind of let down with a fan that's gone viral recently. But Max Holloway has been exactly the same the whole fucking time. There's no shtick with him. He is just as humble as he is in the cage as he is out of it. It doesn't matter. That's why, genuine fucking dude. And God bless anybody who has to stand on the other side of the fucking octagon from that man, because you're gonna leave in an ambulance, So for fucking Max Holloway and that blessed Hawaiian, damn K.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up for us for this week. Thanks, everybody, for bearing with us. I know the first 15 minutes or so was a bit choppy. I want to thank Stove again for holding it down. I'm the asshole that I guess when we had some complications with scheduling, I thought we were going to try to reschedule, and then I never really followed up. So I assume full culpability for being that dickhead who clocked in 15 minutes late this week. Thanks again, Stove, for holding it down, though, for sure. For Raul, for Stove, and for Andy, who couldn't make it out this week. He's got adult commitments as well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Any last-minute thoughts, Raul?
I don't know how we go about, like, if we're going to get behind something, if we're going to get behind one purpose as sports fans, talking to the tens of viewers that'll see this, we need to get behind and run a petition to fucking and figure out the ref situation. I know that we've talked about it before, about the refs unions and the type of accountability that they can get in and out of. Something's got to fucking change here, because it's not only affected, like, at what point in time and rhetorical question, but at what point in time does Vegas start seeing an effect on this and they need to start doing something, right? Because nothing's going to happen until Vegas starts getting hurt. And
Right.
so, yeah,
Money.
this
You gotta start taking
officiating
money or
shit.
something.
Well, if that's the case, then we would have seen it happen with boxing fucking 40 years ago, and it never did.
Nobody
And
cares.
so, anyways, God bless America unless you're a fucking sports official.
I can get fully behind that sentiment. I can fully get behind that sentiment. All right. Well, thanks everybody again. For Raul, appreciate you joining, homie. Stove, Andy, sorry we couldn't have you this week. Stove, thanks for holding it down. This has been the Backyard Blitz, brought to you by Backyard Sports. We are out.